Welcome to another segment of Kingdom Inspiration News. We are here at the Artist Spotlight portion of the show. And I know you guys are probably tired of me saying this, but I'm excited to have this guest on. I'm excited to have this young man on. We actually just connected over the weekend. But first, I was impressed. Let me tell you why I was impressed with it. I was first impressed with how mannerable he was. So kudos to his parents for raising a very mannerable, respectful young man. So that was the first thing that impressed me was that he was very mannerable and very respectful. The second thing that impressed me was when I found out a little bit about what he was studying in school. I was like, oh, okay, he's smart. And then finally, what impressed me was when he actually got up and performed. And I was like, okay, I can relate, and I'm older. And he was rapping. I was like, it is still good. It was so good. And so I was like, you know what? I have to bring you on the show and just highlight you and let the world know about this wonderful young man. So, welcome to the show, Joshua Hughes, also known as Just Josh. Did I get that right?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, tell us just a little bit about who you are.
So, my name is Joshua Hughes. I am 20 years old. I'm a student currently attending Howard University. I'm originally from Queens, New York, but I grew up and spent majority of my life in Sicklerville, New Jersey.
Okay. Nice, nice, nice. All right. So, where are you attending school?
I'm currently at the illustrious Howard University, where I am a junior.
Okay. Nice, 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 nice. So, so let's take a step back. You grew up you were born in New York City in Queens. I don't think I told you. I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx though. Yes, I've been out here New Jersey area 20 20 plus years. So what was life like, growing up in New Jersey for you?
Growing up in New Jersey was definitely a world apart from growing up in New York. I remember vaguely living in the city and remembering how like cramped and just chaotic the city could be. And I was just always very appreciative that my parents were able to move me out of the city and into the suburbs for a better life.
Yeah, I can relate to that. You're a few years younger than my oldest daughter, and that was one of the reasons why I wanted to leave was to kind of get her away from that city life and come down to the suburban life where when you're driving you actually can see cows on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was literally like it was like okay, coming down the farm road. But yeah, I can understand that. Good move for you and for your parents. So you applied to different schools. Did you always know you wanted to go to an HBCU?
No, not at all. I honestly, up until I had made my decision to go to college, my dream and my goal was to go to a Division 1 NCAA school and play football. I had played football for my entire life, and I was in love with sports, and I had thought that that lifestyle was what I had wanted. Unfortunately, my senior year came at a time where the whole world locked down, and
Mm.
COVID-19 pandemic forced us to kind of alter our plans. And in that, God just showed me the power of creativity and the power of my art, and that I can, continue to have passion for creating and conserve my body and my brain a little bit better.
Well, that again, I told you this was a pretty amazing young man. So many people your age, so many younger people would definitely, not have that perspective or that outlook, to have this desire to go and be this, big athlete on campus and then to go from that to not being involved in athletics at all that would be pretty upsetting for some. But so you found this love of music in the process. So now, have you always been involved in music or loved music, or was this something that you kind of stumbled into in the midst of the pandemic?
Yes, for sure. So I have always been musically inclined. I first started falling in love with music in third grade when I started singing in my youth church choir. Um, I had a leadership role in the choir due to I was pretty gifted in like vocally as well from a young age. So I was able to just continue to shape that for God and develop my love for music and for God at the same time. So I've just always just had that love, and then through church, through choir, my choir director taught me how to play instruments. He taught me how to play the piano and then the drums, and I just was totally enamored with like just all harmonies.
Wow, nice. So you play the piano as well as the drum.
Yes, ma'am. I play the piano, the drums, the alto and tenor saxophone, and I'm currently learning how to play the guitar as well.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I just got more excited. I love the saxophone. It's still on my bucket list to one day learn how to play the saxophone. I think, I've learned not to live with regrets, but that's the one thing that I wish that I had stuck with when I was younger. I was back in the day when I was in band camp. Just kidding. Back in the day when I was in school, I've never been gifted to sing, so I ended up being in band. In my middle school, you had to either be in band, orchestra, or the chorus, and I selected band, and I chose the clarinet, but I didn't stick with it. I really wish, in retrospect, that I had, because it would have made it easier for me to transition into playing the saxophone, which I absolutely love to hear the sax. So, wow, that's pretty amazing that you can actually play several instruments. So, you're involved with music, pandemic comes, your plans for college change up a little bit. How does that go from like, okay, I've been a little or a lot talented when it comes to music to now I'm going to pursue this and actually start going into the realm of becoming an artist? And then did this occur before you actually transitioned to college?
Yeah, so I really first began writing my own music and lyrics at around middle school. Um, and it was at this point where I fell in love with just listening to all different types of music. And of course, being a young black male, my favorite genre of music is hip hop and rap. Um, and as I'm continuing to get older and develop my musical ear, I'm realizing that a lot of the music that we listen to today will sound good, but the messages that are involved in the music and the agendas that they're trying to push just are not good, and they can be very worldly, very secular, and I just wanted to be able to listen to music that sounded good but also felt good. And
Right.
being somebody who was musically inclined, I figured why not try to make my own.
Great, great. So you start doing that, and in the process of that, then you, I'm guessing, again, knowing what you're majoring in, you probably had the option to choose from several colleges, but you chose to go to Howard.
Yes, for sure. Well, this time was not only at the peak of the pandemic, but it was also the peak of a lot of social and racial injustices going on in the country. The murders of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd were all over the TV every day. And, we were at home every day. So that's all we saw was just COVID, people getting sick and dying, and then black people being, brutally
Mm.
treated at the hands of the police and at the hands of a system that was never made for us. So with that knowledge, I really just wanted to tap into my people and continue to give the talents that God had given me back to my people and my community, and not take, what God had given me and allow some PWI institution to take credit for that work.
Okay, so you get to Howard, and is that when you decide what you wanted to major in, or did you go in already knowing what you wanted to major in?
So my major when I first enrolled at Howard University was education. Um, I was an education minor because education has always been my passion. I wanted to, use the gifts that God has given me and then teach them to the next generation. But uh, we're we're all pretty aware that the educational field doesn't always pay the best and doesn't always have the best benefits. So a mentor of mine told me that had I, gone into a more broad degree such as mathematics with a minor and concentration in education, I could still be able to achieve my goals as well as set myself up for just a better set myself up for a better career for my skill set.
Yes, absolutely. So, what specifically are you majoring in? I know you're minoring in education, but it's not just math. This it's more specific than that.
Well, yeah. So I am majoring in pure mathematics. So uh, I have taken the most general mathematics degree possible, but within that, there are a lot of different courses, such as advanced level maths, um, linear algebra, complex analysis, proofs and problem solving, as well as computer science and data analytics courses, such as Python, C++. So I've been just trying to gain a holistic knowledge of mathematics so that I could apply it to any different type of job once I do get into the workforce, whether it be data analysis or education or anything in between.
Right. And I remember that's what you told me you were interested in was data analysis.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about your music. When you sit down, do you actually sit down with the pen to the paper or pencil to the paper? Let's. I never really asked this. How do you go through the process of even beginning to write? Are you sitting at a computer? How does that process occur?
So I would say that my creative process is definitely very interesting compared to a lot of people that I've heard from, simply because my process is happening all the time. Um, my brain, I have been clinically diagnosed with ADHD or whatever, but I don't like to fall into labels like that. I like to think that my mind is just expanded in a way that allows me to think about multiple different things at once. So I could be sitting on the train on my way home, and then I'll just think about something that happened in my day, and then I'll think of a couple lines that rhyme with it, and then I'll have a song going in my head. Then I'll think of some melodies, and I'll either save them in my head or I'll write them down in my notes on my phone. Um, here being at Howard, I'm blessed to be around just so many young Black creatives, and in that, it's just so inspiring every day because you just hear so much art. I live with one of my best friends and brother to me, who's also a producer. So he makes beats all the time. So he's always making beats. So I'm always listening, thinking of new rhymes or new ways to flow. And all my songs are just diary songs. So my songs consist of a lot of personal stories about things that have happened to me or people that I know, um, and how I feel about that.
Okay. Okay. So have you produced your first CD album yet?
Yes, ma'am. I literally have just released my first ever album. It's entitled Heart. I released it on February the 17th. I also have an extended project out as well as a few singles, but my album is my best work up to date for sure. Um, and it's on
Okay.
all platforms.
And you're gonna share where people can find it, and you're gonna give all your information. But before we do that, what is your inspiration for writing? What's your goal when you're sitting down and writing? What's your goal?
My
What do you want to
inspiration
share?
my inspiration and my goal is to express myself and to share how I'm feeling and get it out of my head and into some form of physical or some type of product where I can, be able to examine my own expression rather than just being up in my head, as well as share it with other people so that somebody who may be going through something similar cannot feel alone and people can relate and connect with that.
Right. That's not what I was. Look, that wasn't what I was expecting you to say. I was expecting you to give me the answer you shared with me the other day, where you so eloquently talked about your goal in your music is to really be able to talk about God and who God is in your life. I'm kind of paraphrasing, but you said something to that effect.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I always say that, the energy that God has given me to even be able to, live every day and wake up and create music, that's all God. So it's only right that I show my gratitude to God by, glorifying him and putting him first in all of my music and all of my art and all of my expression.
That's good. That's good. So share with us how people can find you or your social media. Like, just give them all. You're young. You might be on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of them. Whatever you're on, let the people know how they can find you.
Yes, ma'am. So I am on all streaming platforms. My artist name is Just Josh, JUSJOSH. I have Instagram. My Instagram is JUS3_JOSH. My TikTok is Just Josh Official. Um, I'm on pretty much everything. You'll be able to find my project. My music has, real energy and the energy from God within it. And I really appreciate God for putting the putting the craft in me, putting the spirit within me. And thank you for supporting me.
That's it, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So that's how you can find him. So before before we end, I always like for my guests to share a word of inspiration or encouragement, something that they can leave the viewing audience with. So I'd like for you to be able to share at this time just something that might encourage or inspire anyone of any age.
One word of inspiration that I would leave for anybody is to continue to fall in love with being 100% unapologetically yourself. God makes everybody unique for a reason, and um, what if we try to worry about, you know, trying to be somebody else or trying to please somebody else, um, we tend to kind of forget about who is the main person that we're pleasing and that we're trying to ultimately be like, which is God. So continue to be yourself and continue to let the light of God shine through yourself.
Great advice, young man. Again, thank you for coming on. Give us the name of your latest album. If you didn't say that again.
So the my latest album is called Heart, but it's also a play on words because the HE in heart is in parentheses. So it's also he art, because I feel like I am art. I am a living embodiment of expression, and that's just a playful way to continue to express within the title.
Great, great, great. Again, I thank you for coming on, and I wish you much success in school and in your career and in all your endeavors as you move forward. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me. God bless you.
Thank you. My